Mm. Hey there, Dynamis is here. It's the Donald Kent Show, yes. It's kind of late. I don't know where you are. Where I am, it's about, I don't know, 11 something. Um, I, it's a little late for me to be streaming, but I'm kind of off today, so I'm just doing some art to get my equilibrium back. Um, this is my last day of my working week, and so a little bit tired after a full week, and I had plans to jam with some musician friends tonight. And then when I got out of work, I said, "Okay, what time are we getting together?" And the guy who I planned it with said, "Oh, that was last night." So I'm still fucking angry about it. And like he didn't even apologize, which to me just is like the cherry on top. If you're gonna fuck up, then at least apologize. Um, but and why get so upset about something like that? Well, I don't know. Part of it is that I'm trying to get my music up and running again. Um, and these guys are part of that plan. The one dude is, he has a recording studio and blah blah blah. So whatever, it is what it is. But I just took it really hard. I was just so upset about it, and it's strange to me that, oh, whatever. I think part of it is that it's like kind of the winter blues are setting in a little bit as well. Cabin fever. Needing to get out and socialize. Um, uh, I got a lot of good things going on, just like in life in general. But I don't know, man. It was just like came down on me really hard, and so like I'm already tired from the week, but I would have gone out and had a great time. I would have my energy would have picked up or whatever, and then I just took like a nap from like 7 to 9, which is pretty weird, like a 2-hour nap, and so that's totally fucked up my, what is it called, the circadian rhythms or arcadian rhythms or whatever, when you're sleeping. And so, and then I have this, I don't know about you, but if I take a nap in the evening like that, when I wake up, I'm like super fucking depressed. I, I'm sure it's biological. I don't, and it's every single time. So the combination of these things has just got me in like a really super low mood right now. But art picks me up, and that's why I'm doing it. So yay. Just take my sweater off here for a second. How you doing, bro? Let's check in on your end over there in Didymus land. One time zone west, it's 10 here. All right, well. So you're there, and I'm here, and here we are, and there you go. And now you know. So got a lot to do tomorrow. Monday's always like the big, you know, get all your chores and shit done, like adulting type stuff. There's always like these like, oh shit, I've got this huge problem. How am I gonna fix this thing? I guess I'll just, like hammer through it, and I don't even know how it'll go. Not that, they're just like adulting problems. They're not like, anything serious, I guess. Just dumb shit that requires you to make phone calls and waste time not making art, okay? Because let's get real, okay? Art is the only meaningful activity. So here's some good news to kind of break out of this doldrums here. Um, if you know my show and you know my content, you probably know who Nullus is. Nullus Abnormocracy is another founding member of the White Art Collective, close friend. We've done a bunch of shows together, blah, blah, blah. And I came up with this idea for a new show that's a weekly show and would essentially be, I don't know how to say this, kind of like when the White Art Collective was really in its prime. We had weekly shows that were super fun, and like everybody would kind of congregate around, and it just had like a great sense of community. And so I'm trying to bring that back basically through a show like this, sort of a little bit of a variety show, certainly featuring, you know, like artists in our sphere and all that stuff. And like Nollis and I have a good back and forth. You know, the two of us together can do a pretty nice show. You know, so we've kind of figured out the format of it, and you know, I'm gonna start scheduling and getting all the this and that done to get that thing off the shelf or whatever, on the road, whatever. So what else? Let's see what you're saying here. I would stop shaking. Oh shit. Wow. Yeah, you guys are chatting already. I think men are hormonal too. Wow, missing some things here. View this message. Oh, holy shit. Sorry, guys. Holy shit. Donald Kent is like, okay. I think men are hormonal too. Sometimes they get irrationally angry and just chalk it up to natural variations in testosterone. I'm sure there's a truth to that. How's it going? My channel's here. Didymus, that helped me after my brain. I have no idea who Nullus is. Please do tell. I'll tell you more in a second. Yeah, and then it was ditched. Donald, you'd be a better vibe. Well, thank you. That lifts my spirits a bit. Thank you. Okay, so Nullus is a dude in the White Art Collective. He's not old, but he's older, you know, and therefore has a different vibe and style to his content. He ran the poetry show. White Art Collective had a poetry show, and it was a really cool niche, you know, that he filled with that. I was the co-host on the poetry show, and so a little background with him. His family is from Hungary. He was educated in Germany, speaks German and Hungarian, but he's also a New Yorker and has that kind of, you know, hey, how you doing kind of vibe as well. So he's just a gentleman, you know, a gentleman and a scholar. A lot of his content, like his shows, are very, well, it's a good variety. So he has like the big brain stuff, like a lot of academic stuff, historic stuff, philosophical content, good guests. He puts a lot of time into production and takes a lot of pride in the quality of his poetry show. My only thing about the poetry shows is I thought that they were terribly long, and I thought, like, I mean, he even went 4 hours on one stream, and I was just like, especially, you know, you're co-hosting, so you're kind of like, whoa, 4 hours, you know. I mean, that's like that's I'm not gonna go there. I mean, that's his business. That's his thing. If he wants to do that, that's what he's gonna do. But these the show that he'll be co-hosting is not going to be 4 hours long. I'm very much in the mindset of just doing 1 hour, and then naturally these things go over. Like people are having fun, they're hanging out. You know, the conversation's real good, and you know we got people in the chat asking questions. So you know it ends up going a bit over, but I plan for like an hour. You know. So what else can I say about Nullis? You know, he's like he's got a great sense of humor. Um, he's just knows how to handle himself. You know, on a microphone, as far as like you know, being very gracious with the guests and you know, preparing good questions and I would say he's more kind of on the scholarly side, meaning like it's not Nick Fuentes, it's not that kind of like 20 something you know, braggadocious how shocking can we be kind of name the Jew type stuff. You know, he's much more polished. You know, this is more refined. The funny thing recently that him and I kind of joke about is somebody on one of my streams. You know, he was. This is like sort of recent as well. Somebody in the chat said, "I can't tell the difference when Donald's talking or Nullis is talking because we both have these kind of warm, masculine voices, you know." And so he and I were laughing about, you know, like just making jokes about shit like that and stuff. But what else can I tell you? So he co-hosted my show of Imperium Art, and I really shouldn't call it my show. It's really our show. It was my concept. You know, I started the show, and but Nullis had you know at least 50% of you know the contribution to that. He wrote a artistic manifesto called Imperium Art. You know, an Imperium Art Manifesto. It's quite well thought out, and I feel like it's like sort of one of the well, how do I say? It's like an important document in terms of like the movement and where what our trajectory is. So my thinking was that you know I'm an artist. I'm in this movement. I'm an art teacher. I've a certain kind of background, and so let's control the narrative. Let's you know design what it is that we are doing here. And one of those things is to have a total liberation from Jewish hegemony, to have a completely new sort of white globalism, which is a kind of a funny way to put it, but it's in other words really like an imperium, like a white global imperium, so that you know after we get through this time, that we as a race will recognize ourselves as one, and then you know behave accordingly, you know, in whatever those forms would be. So you know, we had lots of big names on the show. You know, I mean, quite a lot. You know, and they got really deep into the topic. Different people sharing their thoughts on the concept of an imperium, on what our arts and cultures should be and do. So, like, if you haven't checked out my Imperium Art playlist, I strongly recommend it. I feel like that's kind of the thing I'm known for, you know. And now I'm reinventing myself with kind of a new brand and doing a lot more of these art streams. I've got the Tuesday Patriotic Live art stream, Patriotic Art Live with Patriarch from the UK. So this new show is going to be tied into the themes that both Patriarch and I are doing, and also Jayla Dark's monthly What Art Challenge. They have monthly themes. So we'll be featuring artists from there, and then having these three communities and these three sort of shows. Well, Jayla Dark doesn't have a show, but she's got this community. To tie all of those themes together into one on my platform is essentially the goal of it. I'm gonna check some chats here. Wing It's here. Welcome. Good to see you, Wing It. Hippocratic Oath. Great to see you. Yeah, I know it's a late stream. Conversations with the Wind. Thank you very much. That's the one. Hungarian monarchist nationalist. I'm not sure if he's a monarchist, but he's definitely a hardcore nationalist. We've been cut off. What do you mean we've been cut off? What happened? The best. Oh, okay, haha. Kaimoros, yes, indeed. Yeah, hook me up with the Dark arc. Okay. Jay Dark one is another. She's another founding member of the White Art Collective, and she started a group. It's called the Monthly White Art Challenge. It's a Telegram group, and there's I can't remember how many, like I would say roughly like 300 artists from all over, like Europe, America, etc., that are in the group, and she sets a theme for the month, and then everybody does art based on the theme. So the thing about that group, say I featured that group on my Christmas show, and there's, I would say, more or mostly crafters in that group. So whereas in the White Art Collective it was mostly musicians, which is a kind of thing in itself. Jay is a very no nonsense kind of person. She's very mature, intelligent, straight shooter, no bullshit kind of person. Both, like, she can be very sweet and she can be very tough, and that's her personality. So, a great friend and a terrible enemy, I guess I would say. But anyway, so I'm like an admin in that monthly group, and I'm just I've been doing whatever I can to help promote it. They had a really successful Christmas auction, making money, and so we just talk about how can we take the arts to the next level. What is it that we can do, as admins and as a community to make this happen. So doing a bigger sort of variety show with various artists and influencers to have like a community, to get them community going, is really what we're after. When I say get the community going, I mean like have a weekly show that we can all kind of meet up and have fun. There'll be sort of like news announcements and stuff. We're kind of working through whatever the logistics are. It should be fun though. Not like a game show fun, like not that kind of thing, but still have some kind of pop culture sort of quality to it. Ask the guests to talk on the theme, and then we want to be able to get people on there like any of the big influencers that I know a good bunch of them, and make for some good conversation. But also have it formatted nicely too. You know what I mean? So every week you kind of know what what to expect. Like, okay, this is the section of the show where they do this and that and the other thing. You know. So there you go. Our boy Sven Longshanks is still. Oh dear. He has pretty edgy broadcasting. Yeah, that's that's another thing. Let's check the chat a little bit here. See what you guys are saying. Must be that speech to text. What you can say Hungarian? It's family friendly. True. Must be. Did you say patriarch? Yes. Is that a younger British guy? Yes. I think I heard him on Radio Albion. Correct. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So, patriarch. Yeah, that's like his name. You know, it's sort of like online name. You know, like I was American Zarathustra. You know. Anyway, he runs the Patriotic Art Live community in the UK, and that is associated with Mark Collette's Patriotic Alternative community. So it's kind of like the arts section of that community. And he reached out to me about doing a show together. I think a lot of that had to do with just the way that the White Art Collective kind of fell apart with Jeff Winston's death, and the sense of like we need to do something. You know, we need to. You get what I'm saying. So that's what all of this really is to try to continue to provide culture and community and all that, you know. So, and there's a playlist of on my channel here that you can see the shows that we've done, and it's just kind of him and I, you know, talking and arting, you know, doing our art, and he's got another show where he's doing gaming, you know, close personal friend of Mark Collette's. So there's kind of a nice connection there, you know. I feel that Mark would like to do more in the arts community as well. So perhaps this can kind of give him an opportunity or two. I'll be reaching out to Josh Neal to come on. He's been doing some really good shows. He just had Joel Davis on. They did a good show, ironically on community building. So I just spoke to Joel Davis like not long ago. I invited him on the Christmas show, but you know he's in Australia, so it's like time zone garbage, you know, all that shit you got to deal with. But we'll try to figure something out. So no matter how, you know, sort of hard things get or sort of black pilled that we become, I feel like it's important to keep the community going. You know what I mean? And I feel very much like a lot of that falls on my shoulders. You know, in the terms of like, I mean, I'm electing to do this. Nobody has asked me or voted me to do this or something, but I feel that it's just like the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what's up, as they say. I don't know if I answered your questions or what, but Ricky's here. Hey, Ricky. Ricky says if you add some ink washes, it would look like some Gene Colan 70s Dracula comic. Dude, the fact that you know about Gene Colan's 70s Dracula makes you like a hero in my eyes. I actually have like something like that, like somewhere within reach around my desk at this very moment. Um, that is the shit. That stuff is so beautiful. And it's really not like the standard kind of Marvel comic style. It's like painterly. It's just like amazing. It almost seems more like literature to me than comics. You know what I'm saying? And I know that probably the other people don't know the references we're making here, but uh, Gene Colan is an artist at Marvel, and he has this unique style. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a bit wonky in some ways. So like it's just very dramatic. Um, like his anatomy is really unique. You can't like if you know Gene Colan's style, you'll recognize it immediately. The shadows in it are, and particularly in this story, are very, very dramatic and strong. The series is fantastic. Marv Wolfman wrote the series, and it's a kind of like a almost a Shakespearean tragedy. Like I don't think that Dracula is like the bad guy so much in it. And that's just kind of my take, I guess. But he's still Dracula. But in a sense, it's like you know he has the right to exist just like we all do, kind of thing. It's a different take. It's a different take on Dracula. But the art is just gorgeous. It's super gorgeous. I was thinking about going heavier with shadows on this particular job. Um, I don't think that it's the right aesthetic for this story. This story it's got a lot of tongue-in-cheek kind of humor in it. It should be more of like a fun superhero romp. There's lots of great sarcastic banter, um, a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of references to uh, deeper symbolisms and things that you know are there for people that know how to read into it. Um, so the point I'm making is that I'm kind of leaving it up to the colorist to bring out more of the bang of it. It's not Batman. You know what I mean? It's more maybe more like Justice League or Avengers in terms of like should be colorful and fun. I would say, I mean, the writer and I agree that this book, once it gets out and gets some serious, reviews and such, it's in a sense, well, I would say that we believe that it's going to kind of like change the genre and change the medium in the sense that there's nothing like this out there. Nothing like this has been done before. So we're pretty excited about it. And you can't tell that just by looking at the art. You'd have to read the story. And one day you will. So you guys are off and running with the chat. I'm going to kind of focus on this a bit, but I'll check in. Oh, so I'm not as depressed as I was before. That's nice. I mean, there's always things to be depressed about, especially in my life. But that's part of why I sort of make a conscious effort to choose not to be, I don't know, I don't want to be like that, Now, who does, right? But Yeah, it's weird waking up and you're just like in a fucking existential crisis, like super, super depressed. What is that? It sucks. I mean, I don't wake up like that in the morning. But if I take a nap at like 6 or 7 and I wake up, I feel like totally hopeless. Hence my choice of music for this show. Sorry, I might not be at my best in this show, but I got you guys, so that's cool. Oh, another interesting thing I've noticed. I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but and like it's let's preface this by saying like people have been saying like, okay, the next chess move that our enemies are going to do is that they're going to start creating fake dissident right accounts and then start spreading like their ideology, like anything that is contrary to the things that we believe in and that we know are right. And sure enough, what am I seeing all over Twitter is like these fake uh, white nationalist accounts that are like, we need to XYZ PDQ, all this stuff that's like, and people are coming out in droves, like, what the fuck are you saying, and pushing back. And I'm honestly, I mean, I assume there's just like some people in a room, like just like Mossad agents in a room that are just, you know, going at it, and like, they'll say some things that jive with what our values are, or they'll have like a really really based like avatar, and then they'll come out and say something that's completely contrary to our values and our mission, and then people call them out on it, like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then, oh boy, here comes the argument, and insults and back and forth and da da da, and then finally you get the memes. It's like, oh, I found the Jew. It's like, oh god, it's just crazy, man. Shit's so crazy out there. It's so crazy out there. Oh my god. Anyway, but I'm like, I feel like it's just, I might like some posts, or like, maybe I'll toss in a funny meme or something like that. But overall, I don't kind of like, I let other people fight that fight, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't waste too much of my energy on that, I guess. When you're around this long enough, you know what the rules are. You know how the enemy operates, and it's fairly simple. Like, it's a kind of a game book, or a rule book, playbook, I should say, where that's kind of what's cool and unique about our movement, is that we sort of all have the same education. We're kind of all on the same page about the things that relate to us. A friend of mine, Nullis, actually, he just posted something. There's going to be an interview with Jared Taylor on this show. If you go to my Twitter, you can see I reposted. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's going to be on strategies for the movement, which is really good. I feel like I'd really like to go to an Amren conference, before Jared's pretty healthy. He's up there in age, but like, He's like king of push-ups, you know. Uncle Jared. Another sort of topic of interest. Haha, the push-up meme. Yeah, I know. Dude looks super slick. This dude or Jared Taylor? This is one of those like classic superhero poses as well. Um, so another hot topic. One of the persistent problems in the movement is this. There's this kind of there's a lot of fighting between men and women in the VR, and I know a lot of women in the movement, and there, I mean, there's. I'm not talking about like the rad femme thing. I think that I know that they cross over into our movement, but I guess I don't really know enough about that specifically to comment on it. I do follow a couple rad femme accounts, but overall, there's a problem out there, and like I'm not I'm not the guy that like is like shitting on women in a movement, So like I don't see this stuff. But my female friends say, like they say some pretty harsh shit about like guys in the DR and like the things that they say. So like just because it's not on my radar doesn't mean it doesn't exist, And it's upsetting. So I just had this idea about like maybe trying to do a forum on the topic, and I'm trying to get a couple people on to air out, the grievances and sort of say like, this needs to be addressed. Like we have to not do this in this movement, It's kind of like walking into a pit of vipers, though, in a sense, right? Because you're gonna have people on both sides that this pen sucks. I'm gonna get another one. That are gonna be pretty hot-headed about this, and so is that really what I want to do? You know what I mean? Like, shut your pie hole. I don't want to hear commercials. No, thank you. So we're gonna go back. Okay. I'll just get to the bottom line. It's like I see it as that like if how do I put this, we have to be the role models. We have to behave in such a way among each other, around each other, that is becoming of someone who claims to be in this movement. And I think a lot of the problem, from my perspective, is that there's just a lot of anger and, frankly, immaturity in some sectors of our movement. That might be an age issue. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. But so like this whole thing, like we have like a crisis of loneliness in our movement. You know what I mean? And that's a serious fucking problem. Let me read the comments a little bit. All right. I think the government is already curating the right wing. Patrick Berge used to work for interactive internet activities and mentioned that was his job. Yeah, we know about Conservative Incorporated. Is that what you're talking about? Reading some comments. I think the only new thing would be using legitimate AI chatbots. I'm totally not into BAP. BAP is, you know what BAP is. He's not our guy. They called him Rembrandt of comics. Oh, the Rembrandt. Oh, that's cool. Referring to Gene Colan, the Rembrandt of comics. Um, yeah. So yeah, there you go. Um, so what else? What else can I tell you? 50. Yeah. Let's see. I think I have an idea. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah. What if you flip the crowbar under the foot so it turns up? It's technically not a crowbar. It's like a kind of a blade that has like a curve on either end. And the way the anatomy works is that he's leaning forward. So his hand is going to be in front of his foot. This foot here would be more aligned with that knee. But as you can see, he's moving forward, so that's where that would go. And the other thing too is that once it's inked, there is no going back. It's done. So the only way to fix something, like change something after it's been inked, is to take it into Photoshop and then repaint it in there, kind of, which I hate doing. It's like, I just fucking hate doing it because it never looks organic. It never really looks like that's what you intended. It just has a certain quality about it. It just doesn't work. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Plus, it's extra work. Like you're getting paid to do this, and then if you have to take it into Photoshop and then do more on it, you get the idea. The more you work, the less you get paid. That's how it works. That reminds me of a story. When I was in Taiwan years ago, I was working for this one school, and the Chinese don't they don't have like labor laws like we do. They don't have like, you know, worker rights. They don't think like that, you know. At one point, one of my coworkers was like, "Oh yeah, I have to work late, or I gotta work X hours," and I'm like, "Well, that's cool. You get an overtime pay." And she's like, "You don't understand how I work in Taiwan." And you know, and I first kind of heard about that. It was sort of like, oh shit, that's not good, you know. And then, you know, a week later, I get the call of like, Donald, we want you to work late hours. That's not how they talk. Anyway, I'm being kind of a goofball, but and so I say, so are you, you know, so I'll make, you know, are you changing my salary, or, you know, I just made some comment about the money, and the boss is saying like, no, that's not the Taiwanese way. It's not the Taiwanese way. What a fucking answer to that. And so I said, okay, so and I said this to her directly, what you're telling me is that the more hours I work, the less money I get paid. And she kind of had this sort of like half-ass smile, like, yes, this is the Taiwanese way. And I refused to work the extra hours. I was like, I'm, you know, I mean, yeah, you could lose your job or something, but at the same time, they don't have Americans, you know, walking in and like they, they need native speakers, so you have some leverage. I don't know how it is nowadays. If there's like if it's flooded with Americans or English speakers. The more teachers there are, the lower the salary gets. You know what I mean? Because then they can fire you and hire someone cheaper. Anyway, I see someone talking about UFOs, my favorite topic. Did you ever get into Barry Windsor Smith's UFO encounter stories? I'm very familiar with Barry Windsor Smith, but I didn't know he did UFO stories. In the West, every man is a child of God. In the East, man is an ant. Well, I could talk about that. But so just quick though, this story you're talking about, are they like actual testimonies that people have of abductions? Is that what this story is? Maybe you can fill me in on that. So the way it works in Asia in general, and I'm sure there's probably other cultures around the world that are like this, is that your family is your identity. It's your context that they gave you life. You carry their name. And so, like if we were Asians, I would be Kent Donald, not Donald Kent, because my family name is more important than who I am, according to their way of thinking. Now, it's totally upside down from like a Western individualist perspective. There's certain values to it, that I think we would agree on, but it's almost anti-individualist, I guess, if you want to put it that way. That's another thing I would say about Asians is that, like, and this is not totally true, this is a generalization, but they tend to be a lot less creative and inventive than Westerners. They have high IQ but low EQ, which is emotional intelligence, emotional social intelligence. That may not have always been the case. I think communism has like really severely fucked up China, like severely fucked up their culture, and it continues to fuck it up a lot. It's a deep topic. It's a pretty rough topic though. Pretty rough. Who is here? Heath Lawson, welcome. Hey Heath, thanks for joining us, bud. We're just doing our usual chit chat. I lived in Asia for 5 years, that's why I was talking about that. Didymus says, I saw that quote attributed to Lee Kuan Yew, who is the Singaporean, yeah. Well, he's also an authoritarian. If you spit in Singapore, they cane you. It's fucking crazy. But Barry put out 4 hardcover full-size art books as a autobiographical slash. That sounds sick. That sounds really cool. Didymus says, I was amazed to discover that before the Maoist takeover in China, the Chinese specialized in high-quality export goods. So, China is like 5,000 years old, and it's not... What we know today as China is a conglomeration of countries and peoples and languages. So I always try to say, like, imagine if the Roman Empire still existed today. And, people had their home country language of like German and English and French, but they also spoke Latin, and that they were, like ruled by Rome, So that's pretty much the situation in China. They've had nothing but civil wars. when you say civil wars, they call it civil wars, but like, you know, the Manchus and the, you know, the various provinces, they were not one country, so they're not fighting a civil war. They're fighting their neighbor in a war, you know. But throughout the centuries and such, the Mongols actually brought them together largely at some point. Um, that had a really, really significant impact on what we know as China. But you know, it's anyway, it's very interesting. Um, what else can I tell you? Um, I don't know. I mean, my mind's a little bit on focused on the artwork a little bit here because it's my key job here. But interesting stuff, though. For me, I think one of the important takeaways is that China is, or Asia in general, contrasts so much with who we are that, like, when I came back from Asia, I had a much stronger sense of being a Westerner, being an American specifically, and what it means and the value of those things. Without the contrast, it's ironically hard for a lot of people to kind of to appreciate the things that we are. So I would say there's a lot of value to that. I'll zoom out a little bit here. There's something wonky I gotta fix. Shit. Damn it. What am I gonna do? There, Ricky says that's where they describe where he describes his UFO. So you're saying he had a UFO experience? Like, I didn't know that. That's a whole other can of worms right there. I've seen. I mean, and you can see. Back up here. UFO sightings right now are off the charts. You know, they're off the charts. Like, it's insane how much is going on right now in sort of the UFO world. I did see I've seen like what I would call anomalies that that probably have explanation, but I definitely did see a UFO on one occasion, and it was the kind that it's essentially like a silver ball that just flies silently through the sky, and it went right over my house. I was my brother had come for dinner, and we were done, and we were kind of walking him out to the car, and just, you know, kind of family banter in the driveway. It was probably, you know, I don't know, it wasn't late. It was in the summer, so the sky was bright. You know, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the summer, it's still bright out. And I was just, you know, it's a nice day, and looking up in the sky. And a lot of times you'll see seagulls and things that are just kind of pretty. And I see this metal ball just moving evenly across the sky. And my immediate impression was somebody lost a balloon, you know, like you know what I mean, like, you know, like a little kid let go of his balloon or something. But then I focused in on it more, and I was like, holy fuck, that's not a balloon. You could just tell. I mean, it's not, you know, you don't need to question it. It is what it is. I know what I saw, kind of thing. And then I thought, fuck, you know, if I tell anybody about this, they'll think I'm crazy. It's like the conundrum of this situation. So there's like billions of, not billions, but there's dozens of footage of things like that on the internet. You know, if anybody looks it up, you can easily see that shit. It's not that far-fetched. But what are they? Can't say for sure. I did actually come across an interview of a guy who lives near me. I don't know how I found this footage. And he was talking about much more. I don't want to give away like my location or whatever, but he was just had many experiences, and like where he saw these lights and UFOs and things near where I live, and pretty crazy shit, pretty crazy stuff. So there's I don't know what it is about this region or this area, but there's something. That's where he is it in the to me, it's not weird or abnormal or I mean, it is amazing in its own right, but by now I just feel like it's just a part of everything. It's just another part of stuff that's in existence, that's in the world. So this here is a giant rock. How do you draw a rock and make it look like a rock? Oh, God. Yeah, the whole depression thing, like part of it is just what do you focus your mind on? Like problems exist, bad things happen, da da da. Like if you just focus on it, like you're gonna drive yourself fucking crazy. You can't do that. You have to let go of the past. There's a lot of forgiveness, frankly, that needs to take place. And it's funny, I saw a funny, I don't know, it was just like a poll, and it said like, what is your zodiac, and like how long can you hold a grudge? And mine was like the longest of all of all of the grudge holders in the zodiac, and I don't know that I hold grudges like that much, but I will say maybe it's hard for me to forgive. I think it kind of depends. I mean, if like you really trust someone and you call someone a friend and they betray you, that's very hard to let go of in terms of like, it's very hard to forgive that. You can't go back to any kind of normality after that. But you can't suffer from it forever either. That's stupid, So somehow in your heart you have to kind of find it in there to kind of wish that person well and sort of remember the love you did have and move on. A lot of times I feel like it's really just a choice of like, do you want to live or die? And by die I mean like psychically and emotionally, in your life over and over and over. Like, do you have to relive that experience over and over. No, I don't want to, because that's killing your time. That's destroying the now, the present moment, and in a sense, that's like dying. You know. This is Philosophy 101 by Donald Kent. Easier said than done. So let's check the chat. Let's go on here. First volume. How will you guys distribute your comic when it's done? So, this particular piece, okay, I didn't write this. I'm hired to do this. And there is a financier working with the writer, and he's already packaged some of the issues and put it out and this and that. So it's really kind of up to him, but I would say for sure that this is meant to go into comic book shops across America and Canada. So it should just be an easy, it should be in bookstores, in like the graphic novel sections and etc. So, you know, we're going all the way, going all the way. There's something called Diamond Distributors that they're like the monopoly on comic book. If okay, how it works is if you run a comic shop, you have to order the books, and then they come and you sell them in your shop. And Diamond Distributors is the main catalog where you would find the books to order, and they pretty much control the market there. So we'll get into that. The Kaimoros thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to respond to that. Kaimoro's speech on the subject of hate says it can be passed on for generations. It is a sign of complex thinking. Yeah, I mentioned a while ago that I'm putting together, I've actually got the guys that I want on that little panel. It's actually Nullis and Luke Mason, two guys from the White Art Collective again. Nullis and Luke are very different guys in terms of the way they think. Luke is pagan. He's very martial arts oriented. Nullis is Catholic. You know, his kind of thinking is much more in that framework. And so I think between the three of us, there's going to be some interesting takes. The thing I'm concerned about, of course, is that I don't want that video or that lecture or whatever, not lecture, that discussion to sort of, how do I put this, like backfire basically. I don't want our enemies to take this and say, oh, look, see, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, essentially you simply have to say like that, you know, we're not advocating for violence. We want to have a rational, ethical, and philosophical discussion on the nature of hate and what is it, what should our position be on this topic, and we're going to use the Kaimoro's speech as a kind of a jump off point for this. So from one of my points that I would be making is how the quote hate has no home here movement is just another form of Marxism. It's another form of anti-white Marxism that is designed to silence whites from protesting against violence against them, us. It's just all part of that. It's part and parcel with the diversity, equity, inclusion Marxism. You know, those are the people that are constantly, you know, chanting, you know, stop hatred, stop racism, you know, that kind of vitriol. Yet they're the most hateful people around, and they openly hate whites. So they don't hate racism; they hate white people. You know? So I would say that Luke's Luke's position on it is much more revolutionary and a little more radical. And so I'll give that some representation. Like I said, Nullis has a kind of the Catholic framework, and so where do I stand on the topic? Well, I gotta leave some surprises, so I'll let that go. And that's not the only speech. I've just been, I don't know, the holidays were like a whole thing where I funked out for a while there. I mean, half of it is like, okay, it's the holidays, but the other half is like the holidays for me are very painful because, it's family time and I don't have any family, essentially. So it's a very, I kind of shut down, you know what I mean? Like, when people are in pain, they just go silent. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I was doing for a little while, but I'm, doing these streams and getting out of it, planning the new show. I've got a couple of things already, so like we'll be back on Tuesday with Patriotic Art Live with Patriart. On last Monday in the month, I'll be back on Discordant Dragons with the No White Guild crowd. I told Kai, like, I'm going to be doing these shows and using his other speeches, and he was like over the moon, like so happy. So also as a friend, I feel like I owe it to him too. Oh God, a lot of existential angst here, a certain heaviness. It's interesting how there's a lot of content out there that's basically saying like, just shut down and run away and turn off your computer and go for a walk, man. And it'll all go away. And it's like, yeah, you do have to, to some extent, you can't let this shit like eat you up. But I feel as if there's something in there is like a kind of a gatekeeping thing, like it's meant to shut us down. Just give up. Just go ahead and, let it all go, man. And I'm like, just don't do anything. And generation by generation, your people will disappear. What do you care? How does it affect you personally? Let me check. See what you guys are talking about in here. Why is the dude in the top right corner so skinny? Oh, because I'll explain that. That'll make sense in a minute. So here's what's going on. He's up on a balcony and he jumps off the balcony, which you see here. And then he has this kind of fan type wing, I guess, that shoots out of his costume. So if you were wearing that, but then you see that person from the side, you're only going to see half of the body. Under the wing is the other half of the body. Like if I were to do it in pencil, like the other half of his body would be like here. You see what I'm talking about? Can you envision that? You see what I'm saying? But it's behind that wing, so that's why that makes sense. But you would need to know the context of the scene, right? And the same thing here. Like it looks like his body is cut down the center or something, but it's just because it's only half of his body. Ah, så det ska vara. All right. Let's see what we got here. It's always rewarding to see people pay attention to your work and take it seriously. Yeah, thank you. Your rock looks like a mix between the Fantastic Four thing and No Expression Pepe. I've had a boomer tell me directly, I don't care what's coming, I'll be dead and gone. Yeah, I hate that shit. Looks beautiful. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. Um, that that whole like I'm not gonna be here, so why should I care? That's shit, man. That is a shit fucking attitude. Um, it's cowardly as far as I can say. Like I feel like one of our biggest problems is like just cowardliness. I think that's something I see a lot in a lot of people. And it's not that you're not feeling fear; it's that you're managing fear. That you know how to like control it, not let it sort of get the better of you. But like fear of what? Fear of not conforming to fucking retarded football watching sheep. Stupid fuckheads. Sorry, dude. Watch the language. Yeah, I get angry. That's how I get my anger out is swearing. That's how I It's a pressure valve, I guess, you know. But like, I don't know. I'm not gonna get all black pilled on this shit, you know. Um, but I don't. It's we're different, you know. We got our own thing going. I think that was one of the most disillusioning things for me when, like, you know, the election got stolen and all that other shit. Is that I was just mortified at how fucking cowardly everyone is, you know, and how everything's just about conformity. Just, you know, trust the government. Don't get involved. Don't talk about things. You know, I'm told, you know, like specifically around family, don't talk politics. I mean, I'm literally scolded. And like, don't start. It's January 6th. You know, like I'm treated like that, you know. And I'm like, I can't respect you. I can't take you seriously if you have to behave like that. What kind of fucking shit is that? It's not American, that's for fucking sure. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't want to get all started and get all huffy about this stuff, you know? It's just, you're just gonna hear F-bombs, you know? Anyway. So what's next? The Chinese guy needs a flatter face and squintier eyes. Let's see, more moonish. Well, let me show you who that is. It's not actually a Chinese guy. He's just squinting because he's falling on his face and he's sort of in pain. Boomer Waffen deactivated real quick. Boomer Waffen. You know, it's just a thing where it's like, you know, if it's normal to you know, be revolutionary, you know, or anti-government or whatever, then everybody will do it. You know what I mean? But if it's not normal, then don't talk about it. Everyone's a fucking sheep. So anyway, this I'm gonna show you. I'm trying to put this in sequence here. You can see what's going on. So I'll give you the little lowdown. I gotta back out a bit. Oh, I can't back out. Well, anyway, that's the guy right there, and he is. So, you know, here's our guy. He's looking at the stone. Word balloons, thought balloons, blah blah blah, talkie, something, and then, you know, the bad guys, da da da. And then they see him. They're chasing after him. Oh, fuck you, something, and oh shit, it's him. Oh, we gotta get the superhero, and now he's transforming into this kind of swamp creature. And Drain the Swamp, remember that one? Drain the Swamp. So he's in the swamp, or from the swamp. So then Capital Pig comes out, and, you know, he owns both the Democrat and Republican Party. You know, capitalism, capitalist pig, capital pig. You see the symbolism here. So the shit's going down, and then we see that our hero is getting surrounded by villains. He's on the balcony. Some witty banter, a little background story about somebody. The bad guy is really going full Swamp Thing. And then our good guy jumps off the balcony, does his wing thing. He's got these spinning blades. He's about to cut shit up. And then, you know, he goes after the Swamp Thing guy. who falls down, and then he ends up like hitting that stone, knocking it down. He lands. His suit transforms. It's got like nanotechnology, and it can change shapes, like a sort of an Iron Man, but more advanced. And then that's as far as we are. So that gives you a little flavor. What's the flavor? That is it right there. I'm gonna work on this panel. So I'm gonna try to finish that page before moving on. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I was like super fucking bummed. Boomer Waffen, yes. Okay. God. So, is there going to be World War III or no? Are they gonna? Yeah, this is it, bros. 2024 election year, bros. Is this the end? And are they gonna collapse the dollar? I don't, I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I can't wait for the society to collapse, and then I'm gonna laugh at all those people that's retarded. Like that's not. It's you're not gonna laugh at anybody when people are going house to house looking for food and shit, and and there's no electricity and no internet. That's not funny. You can have your little vengeful fantasies, but it's not gonna be fun. And I know dudes that are like wealthy, and anytime I try to bring up any of this stuff, they just blah, 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 scoff it off, scoff it off. I have more money than you. I know more than you. Oh. And they're in for a fucking rude awakening. And I'll be like, yes. But it's not something to celebrate, Another kind of interesting thing about comics is that this is a 11 by 17, but what's a standard comic book? It's gonna be like yay big, right? So like all of this art will squish down smaller size, and then it will have a higher fidelity. So because the eye can't kind of process all that information. It's hard to explain. It'll appear more detailed, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. That'll be interesting. Once I get the new show up and running, I think that's gonna have a lot. How do I put it? Like, it'll make me feel more uplifted, because I'm doing something meaningful, and I won't have any kind of. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say is like this time off with Christmas and shit. I think it kind of got me down a bit. I like doing shows. I like interaction with the community. I like having an impact on people's lives in a good way, right? Especially our people. It's really great when I get new followers and new subscribers and stuff, but just to give people a sense that like something's happening and we're making. Even if we're not making progress, we're still here together, going through it together. You know what I mean? There's something to say about that. let's see. Your skills are developing quickly, especially in the last couple pages. Um, the more you work, the better you get. You know, Albert Pike said yes on World War III. Yeah, of course he did. Fucking bastard. Um, your skills, da, 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 a couple panels. How does the colorist do his work? Is it digital images of these pages or physical? So I scan these and make digital versions of the pages. And there'll be, I don't know if you know what a TIFF file is, but it's like a large file that is meant for printing. And I send that to the colorist. The writer will have a lot of instructions in terms of like what colors things need to be. We already have like all the characters kind of laid out, so he has like color sheets or model sheets as they're called. And then coloring is extremely tedious. Like these guys generally get paid really well because it's very time consuming. A lot of times they'll lay down what they call flats. So let's say, for example, this guy's suit is gold. So he'll lay down like a yellow and just like outline the whole thing and just make it a yellow. And then he'll add all the highlights and then he'll add all the shadows. And they'll be blending and then he'll throw on some special effects like some glossy, shiny looking shit or whatever, you know. Whereas like on the wall or the carpet, he might give it like a kind of a sort of a grainy texture so that it feels like another thing. It's everything's not made of plastic, you know. It doesn't all have the sameness quality to it. Um, if I like I said, I have like a light in the background, he'll show the light there, and then it'll be darker around the light. Like he'll handle tons of stuff that I don't have to handle. Um, when I'm doing, for example, let's say I'm hold on a sec, give you a little look at, say like when I'm doing something like this, that's kind of how I'm working. Is I will lay out the image lightly in pencil so I know where everything is, and then generally I'll do the line work first, but then I'll go in and brush in the shadows. I'll add the highlights where the light would be something something, and then maybe add more darks, add more lights. If you look at these clouds and how kind of atmospheric they are, the water, this the boldness of the lightning against that background, it's a good contrast. The use of black right here separate the sky and the sea. You know, tones are really important. It's basically light and shadow. So in this comic, the colorist will be handling a lot of that. Whereas, sorry, if I'll just pull out a comic book that just is laying around here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Um, so like this guy's moving his hand like that, and then this is invisible. It's because it's showing like the motion or whatever. So the colorist will lighten that up, you know. But there's like a little gloss right here. Like this whole background here is just some photograph or something that he took off the internet and put it in there for space. If you look here, you can see how like blurry it is, that blur effect. So that gives the illusion of motion. So this is the stuff that a colorist can do because it's all computer generated shit. Just like the glowiness in here, you know. And I can do these things, but it's so damn tedious. It's like agony to me. I can't stand it. Like I don't feel like I'm doing art anymore. I just feel like I'm filling in spaces. It's just not for me. It's not my kind of thing. Go back to the comments. You should watercolor gouache like a natural king. I love watercolor and gouache. I've oh, dude, if you knew me, oh my God. Like I did watercolor most of my life, and before I got into comics. Do I have anything like handy? Not really. I'd have to run in the other room and pull it out of my stock or whatever. But I'm a huge watercolor artist. Ricky says classic Bern Hogarth arm movement. Yeah, yeah, it's all baked in there. You know what I mean? Like Bern Hogarth has such an impact on like early comics guys that the concepts just passed down through the generations. Yeah, yeah, the color is pretty sweet. So, like, you're seeing this in black and white. Imagine, after what I just showed you, imagine this in color. It's gonna kick ass. It's gonna kick serious fucking ass, you know? And I've got, like, we've already done several issues, which I've seen, and they're beautiful. You know, they're exquisite. They look really cool. Now, of course, there's gonna be, you know, like automatopoeia, like zoom, you know, or there's going to be word balloons, you know, hey, you bad guy, I'm coming to get you, whatever, whatever he says, you know, those. So you have to kind of imagine there's going to be word balloons populating the page as well. Right now, this is just sort of the raw version of everything. I should probably put on like happier music. There's all this sad shit. Should I do that? Why don't I do that? Give me a moment to look up something a little nicer. Instead of a commercial. No commercials, thank you. Yeah, I gotta give me a minute here. You know, I get a lot of like hits from YouTube saying like, "Oh, you used that song; it's copyrighted." You know, I'm like, ah. I would love to just play the music that I listen to. You know, just normal music. You know. When I say normal music, I mean like not this sort of like you know copyright free music. You know? And of course, it's going to take a long time and screw up the show. So let me get back. I'm going to type in synthwave. There we go. All right, now we're on it. There we go. All right, so we're right with the gents coming down the line. All right, and we're back. Let's see. There's something. You said something about a Tartarian something. The color. Hey, you bad guy! I'm coming to get ya. Truly, Homerick. Yeah, I just was like spinning that off the top of my head there. So once again, the analogy of draining the swamp. These guys are the swamp. Oh, let's see what you guys are talking about up here. It's a young Joe Biden with a beard. Well, golly gee. When it comes to the master of drawing foliage, I'd have to go with Edward Burne-Jones. Ah, well, there's a lot of good ones out there. That's an interesting. That's probably like an impossible thing to answer. You know, I'm a big Al Williamson fan. I think like he really was operating on a different level with his illustration work. He's well known for his work on Flash Gordon.
Cake in the break room.
Da 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 da, talkie talkie, la 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 la, goodbye. So for me, like I feel like these streams are really just us chilling out, you know. Whereas once I get these shows going more regularly, that's kind of where my head's at. Cause like there's shows, you know, there's guests, there's topics, there's music and art and ideas and laughter and just, you know, community and all of that good stuff. So I don't know like what the value is that you guys get from hanging out with me while I draw, other than just like pure entertainment, I guess, you know. But I feel like as far as like really producing things that have value for the movement, then, you know, those would be the upcoming shows. You know, I guess, does that make sense? That's how I see it anyway. Okay, what's next? Oh, I'm too zoomed in, you can't see what I'm doing. But if there's anything you guys want me to muse on, we can just talk. You keep drawing them and I'll keep watching them. That's cool. Thanks, Ricky. Das ist gut, ja? Okay. Well, I am going to keep drawing them and drawing them because this is going to be a huge project. It's going to last for months. I got a lot of work, so I got to crank. You know what I mean? I gotta burn myself out. But no, I should say that. Yeah, how many issues? Like 5 issues, and this is the. Well, in total, the graphic novel will be 10 issues combined. But I still have 5 issues to go, which is a ton of work. So there'll be a whole lot more of this going on. If you can tolerate it. Let's see. So as far as regular shows, it's looking like Tuesday afternoon and then Monday evening. I do like going on Yiz's show. I feel like it's good for me to kind of stretch out and be in a different community, the No White Guild community for a bit, and see what other communities I can break into. I forget, gamers and geeks or something. We were talking about it in one of the last shows, and it's I try to get on that show. Let's see how things work. I don't know that I can get on any like Comicsgate shows because I think I'm too radical for those guys. If I do, it most likely would be like with John De La Rose, since he and I already did a project and he's a bud, He's been putting out a lot of really cool stuff, and some great funny tweets. I always retweet him and stuff too. It's kind of funny. I don't know if I think I'm done with this page. I believe I am done with this page. Yes. So when it comes to the Master of Drawing. Oh, we already did that. You keep drawing it. Da da da. Are you too radical for Yellow Flash? I know who Yellow Flash is, but I think you're gonna have to give me some context on what you mean exactly. Are you referring to something like I don't read DC because of all the, general faggotry that they have in a lot of their books. Same with like Marvel. I really don't follow the big two anymore because of all that Marxist shit. So like if there's something that you're referring to in regards to that, then you'll have to explain yourself to me what you mean. I'll get off of that. The new one, what is it? The new Star Wars with the woman from India. She was on, there's that Jewish guy who has that show. What's his fucking name? It's not Bill Maher, it's the other fucking guy. I don't forget his fucking name. Anyway, he's one of these, like, political comedy show guys. You'd know who he is. You could probably just guess who he is. There's not a lot of them out there. And of course he's Jewish. And he has that Indian director on his show. And she is saying, like, I love to make men angry. Not you, but I love to make men angry. To force them to think about their ways, that they must change their ways. And I'm like, how about fuck you and fuck the horse that you rode in on, you bitch. Like, they intentionally find people like this to go in and ruin Star Wars and Marvel and anything and everything that means anything to us. And it's not a small thing. I mean, pop culture is still culture, And, it's shit that we grew up with. And, like, it just, like, they weaponize every fucking thing. And I hate it. I hate it. So that's part of why I do what I do, is a type of a art war, I guess, or a culture war in that sense. I guess that she got her way. Like, I'm getting angry, so like, she. But in the end, like, these companies are losing billions of dollars. What was it? What do you call it? Disney lost literally billions of dollars on the movies that they've been putting out. They put out one piece of shit after another. One and then another and then another and another. And they don't fucking learn. Because they don't, I feel like they don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, it's not meant to win or to make money or some shit. It's meant to fucking program children. You know, it's meant to demoralize whites. It's meant to engineer society. And like, that's what its function is. Like, these people can print fucking money. Like, why should they care? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. So, they just all I tell you, if I had enough rope, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say here, guys? If I had enough rope, you know what I mean? All of them. These criminals. Will there ever be justice? That's another thing, you know? This whole like, oh, the Epstein Island list has just come out. Any arrests yet? It's just fucking news fodder. You know what I mean? It's just like, just more fake and gay shit to like keep the outrage cycle going, you know? It's tiresome, dude, you know? Ah, exhausting. Let's see what else is going on here. John Stewart, yeah, thanks. Yeah, John Leibowitz. Exactly. So I knew you guys would know the answer to that. Let's move on. Oh, he's a YouTube critic of comics. Yeah, if is he the? I used to really watch a lot of that, and I just haven't done it in a long time. So now that you mention that, it's kind of ringing a bell again. I'll have to check it out. His channel is huge, and I feel like he could be your fan. Whoa! Well, if you don't mind popping my link into his chat or something, I would appreciate that. She's Pakistani. Okay. Well, all right. So whatever. That's even worse if you think about it. You know what I mean? But there you go. Yeah, dude. I mean, we're gonna get there. You know, like these things take time. You know, I have a fucking full-time job. You know what I'm saying? I'm a single dad. You know, I'm still burning on this stuff. I'm still kicking ass. I'm still putting shit out every day almost. You know, not so much the videos, but doing the work. So maybe I don't want to burn out though. You know. Well, tough shit. I'm gonna have to burn out for the movement, man. You know, gotta put in that time. You know, make sacrifices for my people. All right. What's next here? Oh shit. Okay. So there's one dude who's, I would say, like the best comic book reviewer out there. And I'm like the worst guy in the world for like remembering names and shit. Like again, when I watched him more regularly, I would have been able to say, you know, this guy or whatever. It might be Yellow Flash. He goes like, "Hey guys, it's your boy." You know, he always starts off the show with, "It's your boy." Is that the one? That's what we're talking about. It's your boy. Anyway. So like these guys that do comics for a living, like, you know, like that's their day job. That's a lot. Like, how do I put this? Like, guys like me would love to do that. We would love to be in their shoes, but they came up through the industry. You know what I mean? Like somehow or other they worked for Marvel or DC, which is how they got their name and their fan base. And shut up. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I don't care about that. Thank you and good night. And goodbye. Okay. Um so, what am I gonna what can I say? You know, they when they do a Kickstarter, they'll get $100,000. Just like, oh, that would be nice. I'd love to get $100,000 just from freaking donations. And sometimes more than that. But I'm not gonna begrudge these guys for that. I'm generally a fan. Um, but you can't go from obscurity to like that kind of fame overnight. And even if you did, you how do I say, like, you would still need time to build up the fan base or something. One thing that I'm really, really guilty of is essentially not monetizing what I do. Like, super chats and whatever, like all the stuff that people do for the grift. You know what I'm saying? And there's a side of me that's like, you're a fool. Like, you should be doing this. And then there's a side of me that's like, well, okay, like I have a book, that people can buy and see my artwork and my poetry. But, like, should I be grifting more? Should I be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I guess the answer is yes. I just don't, whatever I do, I don't want to feel like cheesy. I don't want to feel like, the value of what I'm doing is lower because I'm grifting for money or something. Does that make sense? There's nothing wrong with making money doing this, obviously. I'm a freelancer, But, I have to think about it. So this music's a little nicer. What's funny is, like, you look at the quality of a lot of the artwork out there, and it's like, I'm talking about like in Marvel, and it's like unbearably bad. It's like, what the fuck? Who approved this? Like, what is going on? And they're like hiring a lot of female artists, and they're kind of going for this whole, like, we want to totally reinvent comics. We're going to completely overhaul it, where, like, women's boobs are small and men are feminine, and we're going to kill off the Punisher and Captain America, and all the most powerful heroes will be girl bosses. Yeah, right. So you can see, like, just pure garbage art out there. Wouldn't even call it art. it getting too late, guys? Oh man, I just I don't know. So here's an interesting discussion. I'm on social media today, and there's one of these like dating, what do you call it, like relationship coaching channels, and I'm just scrolling through, and I see this. I see a post from one of those type of channels, and what did it say? Oh yeah, it said like, when a girl starts talking about her problems, guys, like she doesn't want you to fix her problems. She just wants you to listen and nod your head. Like all she wants is just for you to listen. And I kind of, I basically was very rude. I wrote like a not I didn't I wasn't really rude. I was just really honest. And I was like, from a man's perspective, this sounds idiotic because you know, like if you want to if you want someone to just listen to your problems, then talk to your girlfriend, you know what I mean? Like go talk to your friend. Like, you know, we don't even know when you're like, do you really want me to fix this problem or just want me to nod my head? You know what I mean? And like it doesn't make sense to do that either. And like so and then there's this whole like why is it such a fucking game that we have to like try to figure these things out? And I kind of so these are my general points. And it was like, this is exhausting and like can we just stop doing this, please? That kind of thing. Well, I got a lot of likes on the thing, but then there was this one woman who commented. She was angry at what I said, and here's the go-to thing. Like when a woman is, not all women, don't get me wrong, but like in a case like this, when there's a woman who doesn't like you talking like that, then they always have the same insult. They have like the same go-to, and they always say like somehow they imply that you're gay, because that gives them the ultimate power in their minds. They're like, aha, I said, and it's just the bullshit, the usual thing. And like out of one side of their mouth, they're all like, oh, we should like not be prejudiced to gay people, but then they use it as an insult on the other side of their mouth. You know, this is just more duplicity. Um, anyway, so I tried to respond to her, and I noticed that she has her settings so that you can't respond to her. And I was like, that is the cherry on top right there. That like it's all about accountability, and you've made your settings so that you can criticize and insult somebody, but they can't comment back to you. That way you have zero accountability. And I was like, this is like super tiresome. And then I just went on with the rest of my day. Hippocratic Oath says it's worse. They make Captain America gay and female. Yeah. Yeah, they replace all the main characters with like they're gender swapping out the characters, and that right there is like such a testimonial that like they don't have like I mean, Marvel has female characters. They have black characters. Da, da, da. Why not just have better fucking writers, who can take these characters, and there's like all kinds of like, you know, you know, people of color that are comics fans that know this, and they say this is stupid. Like, why are you turning this character black? It's not. It's not Spider-Man. It's some other dude, and in the end, it kind of almost looks more like you're just trying to franchise this. You're like, well, if we can have like 10 Spider-Mans, then we can sell more comics, and blah, 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 blah. And that kind of thinking is, you know, it's like corporate thinking. It's not plugged into the essence of what the characters are, what the fans want. You're not selling hamburgers, like these are in a sense the property of the culture, not of like Marvel or DC. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I think there's a reasonable argument there. Um, and when you totally fuck them up like that, then you know nobody cares anyway. But I always really feel like that's what they want. They're intentionally destroying these things. Uh, Another brick in the wall, as they say. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. Yeah, so as far as like the whole like, are I'm too radical for da da da. It's not like I would like if I was invited on, say, John De La Rosa's channel or Graham Nolan's channel, EVS. I'm not gonna start talking about Hitler. It's like you know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm on the show to do. Like if somebody asked me a question, I probably would answer honestly, but I'm not there to convert anybody or like cause trouble or something. And those guys, they don't know what we know, and they're normies. I mean, they're not bad people. You know, um, they're still in the matrix. I appreciate them. I don't know. I wish them well. I wish them success. All right. I think we're getting close to the end of the show here, gents. I'm kind of getting close to the end of this page. And also, it's starting to hit me like it's 1:30 almost, so I'm getting a little bit on the sleepy side there, which is good. I thank you so much for your time together and listening to me complain about stuff. I wish you well, and I will see you on the next show. You guys stay real, and we'll talk to you soon. Adios, amigos.